Back then, an average match would have 8 or 9 or 10 pinfalls.
Right.
False finishes. That seemed to be about the average for back then, and we had 20.
Wow.
And then you had to remember in consecutive order the 20 false finishes.
People said that, the rumor that Randy had notes written on his hands and everything. How did you work that? That was such a brilliant match. What was the backstage part of that? How did you work that out?
We did the angle in December of '86. He came off the top rope on my throat with the announcer's bell, which put me out. And about a month out, around February, and I went to Vince and said, Savage and I are going to have any tune-up matches getting ready for WrestleMania 3. Usually you work with the guy a few times and you try a few spots to see what works and what doesn't, right? And he said, no, you're going to make your debut day of the show. So I got with Randy because we never really worked with each other. We just did the angle and basically just, he beat me down and then he came off the top rope on me. So, we never really had a match, so to speak. And so we just would get together whenever opportunity would come up and started putting together a match. And I brought two those yellow legal tablets. And I said, we need to start taking some notes. Step number 1, step number 2. We got up to about 160 steps.
Goodness.
Yeah. And then after we got the match completely done, every time we would meet leading up to WrestleMania, I would say, okay, on my pad, step number 37 is this. Tell me the rest of the match. He'd go, 38 is probably, 39 is, and then he'd go all the way through, and then he would quiz. So we would quiz each other back and forth until we, got it completely memorized. The biggest thing, Bill, that changed to me, the difference in that match, back then, an average match would have 8 or 9 or 10 pinfalls.
Right.
False finishes. That seemed to be about the average for back then, and we had 20.
Wow.
And then you had to remember in consecutive order the 20 false finishes. And then
the brain power to remember those spots.
Yeah, and then remember the spots in between each of the false finishes, leading into the false finish, leading into it. So super stressed, but everybody was saying that we made it a championship match, and the reason being is because there were so many false finishes. He was trying to beat me, I was trying to beat him, and that was the story.
Yeah, it was classic. It was absolutely one of my favorite matches of all time. One of the other things that Rizzu brought up was that did you ever expect Steve Austin to become one of the biggest iconic stars in the business? You wrestled him so many times.
Yeah.
Hollywood Blondie and Brian Pillman.
Right.
Did you ever expect that he was going to hit it the way he hit it?
My very last match, when I was working for WCW at the time, 1994, was with Steve Austin in Roanoke, Virginia. Okay, and it was for the United States Heavyweight Championship. That's when I hurt my back.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I went to the office and said, "This kid Austin, he's got it. He's got the it thing."
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. He knows how to work. He's got great timing, and everything, all his mechanics. So I thought then that he had it, and when I hurt my back and I decided after almost 20 years and I got out of the business, and the next thing I know, he's up at the WWE, at the time it was WWF, and he became stone cold. and then the rest is history. But I knew it when we were working with the other company that this kid's got it.
That's your bottom line, son, right?
That's your bottom line.